Welcome to this free immigration help channel. In this video I want to talk about the new program from USCIS, Uniting for Ukraine. Now I got a lot of questions, a lot of comments from you guys on some of my videos regarding this specific program, so I actually had to take my time to do some research, to take a look because it is brand new. Just keep in mind that it's really hard to tell the processing times. It's really hard to tell the process because the program is so new, so there is really no past experience kind of to rely on to. But the good news is that this whole program is based on a very simple form. It's the I-134, and we will talk about all of it in great detail. It's the financial support, basically, that you're showing that you have enough finances to support somebody from Ukraine. So you have a supporter and you have the beneficiary. So for the most part, it's a very similar structure to the way that you are basically inviting a relative. So we will talk about all of this in great detail, but before we start I wanted to say thank you guys for all your support. I really appreciate it. Now with the new YouTube feature with the super thanks, it was very helpful, and all your support definitely keeps this channel going, so I really appreciate it. As always, if you have any questions you can ask them in the comments below, and I try to go through those and then make videos based on those questions where I simply just answer questions. Okay, so let's get into this video. It's gonna be long, it's gonna be very detailed, so get ready, pen, paper. I recommend computer in front of you so that you can actually follow everything that I'm doing. So as always, we start with the official USCIS, US Citizenship and Immigration Services website. It's uscis.gov. Here it is. All of the information that I provide is always directly from this website. To me, this is one and only official source of information. I don't go through forums. I don't go through all of these weird online sources from whoever, whatever. It's strictly directly just from uscis.gov. This is how you stay on top of all the information that is out there. Everything is always updated here first. So all the information that I'm providing in this video, make sure you verify it on the official uscis.gov website. And at this very moment, it's May 25 as I'm doing this video. When you go to this website, the very first thing that's gonna come up is Uniting for Ukraine program. So we're gonna go straight to it by clicking Uniting for Ukraine here, and on this page you will find all of the information that you need to know with the eligibility. We will go through all of these briefly, but I recommend, if you are actually planning to apply for this, I recommend making sure that you are actually going in detail through all of these. Okay, so looks like here you can actually have it in Ukrainian, if it makes it easier for you to read, which probably most likely is, but if you're fine with English, I recommend sticking with English just to be on the safe side that you have all of the details. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the eligibility. Okay, so like I said in the beginning, in this program you have a supporter and you have a beneficiary. So supporter is the one who is actually filing all of the official stuff. It's not the beneficiary. Now, beneficiary obviously might initiate and ask the supporter, hey, do this and that, but it's going to be the supporter that's going to be filing. So let's talk about who is the supporter first, since this is the person who is going to be filing. Okay, so in order to meet the requirements to be the supporter in this program, you have to be US citizen or national. All right, lawful permanent resident. All right, this is another requirement. If you're not a citizen, you have to be lawful permanent resident. Non-immigrants in lawful status. Now that is something really new, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. Asylees, refugees, and parolees. Again, something very new. TPS holders and beneficiaries of deferred action. So pretty much, according to this information here, a supporter literally can be anybody who is maintaining the lawful status here in the United States of America. So either US citizen or a green card holder, lawful permanent resident, or even non-immigrant in lawful status. So for example, if you are like B1, B2, tourist, right? Or you're here for business, or you have a work visa, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Or even if you're asylee refugee and you're in the United States, you have a lawful status, you can be a supporter, which is really amazing, honestly, because most of the times if you find these programs where you are filing for someone as a supporter, you have to be either US citizen or at least a permanent resident. So this is very refreshing. It's very it's great, honestly. Okay, so now let's move on to the beneficiary. So who can be the beneficiary? Okay, this is very important. The Ukrainian citizen, all right, or their non-Ukrainian immediate family member who is outside the United States, so you have to be outside the United States, and who may be considered for parole under Uniting for Ukraine, which is this program here, and it's going to be immediate family members in this process that include the spouse or common law partner of a Ukrainian citizen, okay, their unmarried children under the age of 21. Okay, so that's the people who are considered to be the immediate family members. Okay, so you have to be a Ukrainian citizen, all right? Or if you're considered an immediate family, if you're non-Ukrainian, but you're an immediate, their immediate family of a Ukrainian citizen. Okay, so let's talk about the beneficiaries here in details now, because there are some requirements in order to qualify for this program. And obviously this is going to be very, very important. So you had to be resided in Ukraine immediately before the Russian invasion. So through February 11, 2022. This is very important. And were displaced as a result of the invasion. Are a Ukrainian citizen and possess a valid Ukrainian passport, or are a child included on a parent's passport, which we'll talk about children a little bit later because it's kind of very important too. If not a Ukrainian citizen, they must be an immediate family member of a Ukrainian citizen. So like we already talked about that. Have a supporter who filed a form I-134, and we will talk about that form in great detail later, so don't worry about that. Clear biographic and biometric security checks, which is obvious. It will all follow once you file all of that stuff. So the main requirement is that you are either a Ukrainian citizen and you were in Ukraine before the Russian invasion and through the February 11, 2022, and were displaced as a result of that invasion, and also that if you are an immediate family member of a Ukrainian citizen with all of these requirements. Okay, so who is not eligible? So, Ukrainian citizens who are present in the United States. So, if you are a Ukrainian citizen and you are here already in the United States, this program is not for you. So, don't confuse it for some kind of way to file for a permanent residence or something like that. This is completely different. This program is specifically to bring the people out of Ukraine. So, not for Ukrainians who are here, but the people, Ukrainian people who are in Ukraine. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. That's one of the things that I saw in the comments, that there was some confusion. Ukrainians were asking who are already here in the United States. So this is not the program for you guys. Okay, and another thing is very kind of, I think it's important to mention here, is children. So if it's a child traveling without their parent or legal guardian, it's here. You can find it here. They're not eligible for this program, Uniting for Ukraine, because upon arrival, the child is actually placed in, they have like a protective custody to prevent like a child trafficking. So again, so it's a child and the people, Ukrainian people who are here in the United States, that are not eligible for this Uniting for Ukraine program. Okay, so we're done with this part. Hopefully, if you have any questions, like I said, you can definitely just ask me in the comments below and I'll try to address it. But let's briefly talk about who can be a supporter. That's also kind of important, because chances are, if you are filing for if you're Ukrainian in Ukraine and you're planning to do this, chances are you have a few options, a few people here in the United States that you can consider to be a supporter. So do they qualify or not? So this is where you're gonna find the answers to that question. Supporters who file Form I-134 on behalf of a beneficiary under Uniting for Ukraine must be a lawful status in the United States, We already talked about that. Okay, so any lawful status. Citizen, green card, lawful non-immigrant status, lawful immigrant status, anything. Okay, or a parolee or beneficiary of deferred action or deferred enforced departure, and willing and able to receive, maintain, and support the beneficiary listed in Form I-134, which we'll talk about later. Examples of the types of support for beneficiaries that supporters should keep in mind when considering their ability to meet this commitment include receiving the beneficiary upon arrival in the United States and transporting them to initial housing, ensuring that the beneficiary has safe and appropriate housing for the duration of their parole and initial basic necessities. As appropriate, helping the beneficiary complete necessary paperwork, such as for employment authorization, for Social Security card, and for services for which they may be eligible, ensuring that the beneficiary's health care and medical needs are met. As appropriate, assisting the beneficiary with assessing education, learning English, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. So just if you are planning to be a supporter, keep in mind that these are the responsibilities that you are taking upon. Again, go through all of this, read. There are a few other, how to be considered, what, and we probably going to talk about some of these in this video, but I wanted to show you the more of the detailed technical stuff of this process, because this is how this video is about how you actually apply. So I'm going to show in the detail how to actually apply, and the way you apply it is through Form I-134. And the really great news is that there is no fee to file it, so it's completely free. And even better news is that you can actually file this form online. Now, in order to file this form online, you're going to have to create a USCIS online account. It's very simple, very straightforward, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to show you the form itself, so that when you go online and when you start filling it out, you're actually familiar and you know what to expect. So in order to find instructions and the form itself, you can either just click here, file online, but you can also go to forms, all forms. And this is, to me, this is the best way, because you can scroll through all of them, find exactly what you need, and this is it, Declaration of Financial Support, I-134. So we just click on that, and it will open up the page for a form itself. And actually, I'm gonna put the link for this particular page in the description below, so if you guys just can click on it and go to this page. So again, you can file online from here, and as you can see, it says here, we are only accepting online filing of Form I-134 by individuals agreeing to financially support Ukrainians and their immediate family members as a part of Uniting for Ukraine. So if you are filling this out for any other reason and not for the Uniting for Ukraine program, then you're going to have to do the paper filing. Online filing is only for Uniting for Ukraine, which is fantastic. It's great. I think USCIS did a great job to make it process faster, because online forms, they process, I mean, unbelievably, weeks if not months faster. Okay, so that's great news. So on this page, you will find a few things that is absolutely must have. You don't have to worry about where to file, because you're filing it online, so you don't really need to worry. You can kind of go through the checklist, but there isn't really much. Most of the times the required initial evidence is requested after you file. So you submit your form online, and then whatever is needed from you, it can be whatever, to prove your financial status. It can be your W-2s, can be your tax returns, can be your financial statement, bank statement, whatever. Whatever they decide that they need, they will request it separately after you file it. So you don't really need to worry about this for now. And you don't need to worry about where to file, because you're filing it online. One thing that you do need to worry about is instructions. I highly recommend you this. This is a PDF file. If you click on it, open up. I usually open it up in new window. You can print it out, whatever works for you best. I would recommend reading through this. I'm not gonna go through all of this, but this, keep it open as you fill out the form online, and this will help you. But to make it easier for you to go through this form, I'm gonna actually open the paper version of that form. Here we go. This is the application itself. Now, obviously, it's not gonna look exactly like this when you fill it out online, but it's gonna ask the same information, so you will be prepared. If you're watching this video and then you decide to go and file it online, you will be prepared and you're gonna know how to do it. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. What information will be required from you? And when I say from you, I mean you, a supporter. Now, obviously, you most likely going to be working on the phone together with your beneficiary, right? The person that you're filing this form for, because you're going to need to use their information on this form, but you are the one, the supporter, who is filling it out. Okay, so let's start. Part 1, basis for filing. I am filing this form on behalf of myself as a beneficiary. So obviously this is not going to be the case because you can't do that. You're going to be filing on behalf of somebody. So this is going to be the answer here. Another individual who is the beneficiary. Someone who is in Ukraine. All right. Ukrainian or an immediate family member of Ukrainian. Information about the beneficiary. Now, this is not the information about you because you are the supporter. This is the information about the beneficiary. So the person that you are inviting from, not inviting, but the person that you're trying to get out of Ukraine, that you're trying to support out of Ukraine, this is going to be their information. So let's say that's Jane Doe. You are John Doe and she's Jane Doe. So the beneficiary is, actually that's going to be confusing, but whatever. We'll name the supporter somebody else. So this is Jane and she's Ukrainian and she's in Ukraine. And you're the supporter and you're trying to get her out of Ukraine. Okay. Hopefully that answers it. Okay, so the beneficiary's current legal name. With paper forms, I always say don't leave the form anything blank. But online, when you fill it out online, it doesn't matter. If she has no middle name, leave it. Just it's no big deal. So other names used, if any. If not, then whatever. Date of birth, obviously. Gender, male, female in our case. Alien registration number. Most likely not going to have, your beneficiary not going to have it just yet because, well, there is no immigration case for them. Place of birth, all of that information. Citizenship, nationality, Ukraine. Passport number. This is going to be their Ukrainian passport information. Country that it was most recently issued, obviously Ukraine. Now, expiration date, also for the passport. Marital status, single, never married, married, divorce, everything clear. Moving further, information still about the beneficiary. Now, this is going to be your beneficiary's mailing address. And same thing, you're going to put it here. So far, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Part 2, question 11. Are the beneficiary mailing addresses physical the same? Yes, no, whatever, you answer it. Phone number, mobile phone number, email. I recommend filling all of that out just in case. It will be helpful for USCIS if they need to contact the beneficiary. Beneficiary's anticipated length of stay. Okay, this is now getting important, and you don't have to be as specific here, but being as close, you can be approximate, but try to be as close as possible. And I would suggest requesting somewhere between 6 months and 1 year. Now, depending on for how long you do this, you put in here, it will also depend how much of the support USCIS will calculate that you would have to do. All right. So, for example, if you're trying to sponsor someone from Ukraine for 3 months, obviously you're not going to have to show as much of the financial, how much money you make, for example, right? Compared to when you're trying to sponsor someone for 6 months. All right, makes sense. So it's double. So kind of look at that. But I would say between 6 months and a year, that should be just fine. Again, approximate is fine. Or you can even select no end date. So you're supporting just without the boundaries. You just come over and I'm going to support you, and maybe you can, legalize here, naturalize, whatever. Okay, so moving on further, beneficiary's financial information. Now, this is, again, the person that you are inviting. This is their financial information, not yours. So this is going to be their income, All right. Provide all of the information requested in the table below above the beneficiary, all of the beneficiary's dependents, and any other individuals the beneficiary financial supports. Okay. So individual's full name. This is going to be, first of all, the beneficiary. So it's going to be Jane Doe. Date of birth. Relationship to beneficiary, obviously, is going to be self. And then income. Let's say 10,000. Beneficiary annually. That's a year. Per year, so let's say 10,000 per year. Now, this, for example, other individuals who can be on this list are those that Jane Doe here are beneficiary support. So her dependents, like her children, for example. So let's say little Brian Doe is the son of Jane Doe, son, and obviously date of birth, whatever, and income contribution to the beneficiary annually, well, 0 because it's a little kid, and then obviously the total income. Okay. Does any of the beneficiary's total income, including income from dependents and other individuals who contribute to the beneficiary income, excluding any individual's name, blah, 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 come from an illegal activity or source? Well, hopefully the answer is no to that. If you answer yes, you're going to put that. We didn't do that. No. Does any of the beneficiary's total income come from means tested public benefits as defined? Again, yes or no. No in our case. Moving further, still information about the beneficiary. Beneficiary's assets. Now, what's that? Assets is the stuff that you possess. Okay, it's your assets, your real estate, your car, your bank savings, checking accounts, the jewelry that you have, all of these things that you possess, right? Your possessions, your assets. So again, here is going to be the name of the asset holder, so beneficiary, in this case, Jane Doe. And type of asset, let's say house. You can put real. Oh, actually, you know what? They do give you a pre-field, which is going to make it much easier. As you can see, real estate holdings, personal property, retirement, stocks, annuities, savings, and checking. So real estate, it's the house, let's say 30, or maybe an apartment, whatever, 30,000 in US dollars. Again, Jane Doe. And also Jane Doe has some savings account worth $1,000. You get the point, right? So you fill out all the assets for the beneficiary. Okay, moving on. Next very important part 3. Information about the individual agreeing to financially support the beneficiary named in part 2. Okay, now we are talking about the supporter. And most likely it's you who is filling out this form. So you're the supporter. So this is going to be your information here. So your information, you're going to be John Brown. And you're the guy. Wait, given name is John. And then last name is Brown. And I think I actually put... Yeah, family name is gonna be Doe, and it's gonna be Jane. There you go. Don't confuse the order of the names and the last name. Okay, so did I pass it? Yeah, I think I did. There you go. Part 3. So this is you now. All the same thing. If you used any other names, your current mailing address, physical address, if it's any different, date of birth, place of birth, alien registration. Now you might have that if you are currently in the United States of America, and for example, let's say you have applied for asylee status. All right, so if you did and your case is in process, you're legally here in the United States, you probably have the alien registration number. You most likely have the alien registration number. Put it here. Now, USCIS online account number. This one is sometimes I've seen from a lot of different people different things. So some people, they create an online account with USCIS and they get the email, and that email includes the online account number. And some people just can never find that online account number. So if you have it, put it. If you don't have it, no big deal. Just leave it as it is. It's not a requirement. What is your relationship to the beneficiary? Now, that is kind of very important. Are you a relative? Are you son, daughter? Are you mother, father, parent, whatever, right? So whatever your relationship to the beneficiary is, just put it here. Or if maybe you're just a friend, put a friend there, no big deal. What is your current immigration status? Obviously, this is very important too. Are you U.S. citizen? Are you U.S. national? You're lawful permanent resident? Are you non-immigrant? And if you're non-immigrant, then they will ask you for your Form I-94, Arrival Departure Record Number. That's the little document that these days they don't even give it to you. It's all digital these days. So you're probably going to have to look it up. I actually made a video specifically on how to look up your I-94. So it's on this channel. If you need it, check it out. And obviously, if it's whatever other status that you have, put it here. Which in this, if in our example, like I said, asylee, I'm applying for asylee. Let's say this guy, supporter, me, John Brown, my name, right? So I'm gonna say pending asylum case. Okay, that's it. If that's the case, because there is no such option here. Okay, moving on. Information about the individual agreeing to financial support. So it's still about John Brown. Employment status, full-time, unemployed, retired. All right, we're going to do employed for this one. If you indicated that you're employed, I'm currently employed as, I'm currently self-employed as, if you're self-employed, we're going to do this. Actually, no, it doesn't give me an option to. Oh, well, in this particular form, you actually have to print it out and select it. So some of these, for whatever reason, in PDF, you can't select it. But you get the point. It's going to be the same thing, most likely, in the online form. Okay, current employer's address, if you have it. If not, if you're self-employed, just put your own address. And then, obviously, all the income. This is very important. Again, your income. If you have any people that in your household that you share, that contribute to your income, you're going to put them here as well for the total income. Makes sense, nothing crazy. Information about the individual agreeing to financial support, still about John Brown. Does any of the income listed above come from an illegal activity? Same questions, no, blah, blah, blah. Assets, again, same thing, but for John Brown. John Brown has real estate holding, which is a house in New York, and it's $250,000, for example, right? And then also John Brown has some kind of savings account with $50,000, and the total is $300,000. So the more you can fill it out here, but you will be able to do it online. The more you show, obviously be as truthful, as accurate as possible, because, like I said, most likely later in the process, USCIS will request some kind of documents that show that everything you mentioned in this form is true. Okay, they're not going to just say, okay, so you have a $250,000 house. Okay, good. No, they will actually probably request some kind of statement, some kind of mortgage statement to show that you actually do have a house, and you do have a checking account, and you do have a savings account, and you do have a job. Okay, so be as truthful, as close with the numbers as possible, and don't miss anything. Don't miss anything, because you don't want to be like, oh, I didn't show this income, but that income would have helped determining that you are qualifying as a supporter. So don't miss anything. It's very important. Okay, financial responsibility for other beneficiaries. Have you previously submitted a Form I-134? Yes, no. All right, and then if you did, then you fill out for who. All right, person 1, person 2. Moving on, information about the individual agreeing to financially support the beneficiary named in Part 2. Okay, so this is just the intent to provide specific contributions to the beneficiary. I intend to make specific contributions to the support of the beneficiary, or I do not intend to make specific contributions to the support of the beneficiary name. In this form, obviously, it would help to say I intend, but I understand some people, they don't want to provide money stated to somebody else, so it's kind of it's tricky. But for the purposes of obviously this form and qualifying for the program, I recommend finding someone who will say, yeah, of course, I intend to support this individual who's coming. After all, this is the reason why you're filling out this form, financial declaration of financial support, okay? Because if you say I don't intend, then what's the point of you filling it out? Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Now, this is just a beneficiary statement that I can read. All of this sort of stuff. Now, most likely all of this stuff is not going to be in your online form, because USCIS knows that it's you, the supporter, who's filling all of this out. So if that's the case, if it does come up in the online form and you're the supporter and the beneficiary is obviously in Ukraine, so this doesn't make sense. How they gonna be online with you filling it out? Makes no sense. So it shouldn't be there. But if it is, then you select this. At my request, the preparer named in part 7, and the preparer is going to be the supporter who prepared this form. So most likely beneficiary certification is not going to be there. But if it is, then you select this one with the supporter. And in the part 7, contact information, declaration, and signature of the person preparing the declaration. That's going to be the supporter. That's going to be John, I'm sorry, not that, John Brown here, and then John here. There you go. And then their mailing address. So basically the supporter's information, and supporter obviously is the preparer. But like I said, online, most likely you're not going to encounter this question. And that is really it. It's really that simple. There's really not much to it. There's not much that you have to have on you. Really just your personal information, the personal information of the beneficiary. You don't really need any kind of documents, financial statements, nothing. But I highly recommend to have them open in front of you and just put all the information from your bank statements, from your mortgage statement, so that it's as accurate as possible. So whenever USCIS requests these documents from you, you don't need to worry about, oh, I showed $5,000 more than it actually is. Most of the times USCIS, they do understand that you do approximate and do it, but as accurate you are, the better. So let me know in the comments below, guys, if you have any questions regarding this. I try to make it as simple, and some of the things you can see I'm skipping and I'm trying to kind of rush through, because I want to make this video not as long, because for people who's gonna watch and they'll see like, oh, this video is 40 minutes long, this is too complicated, I'm not gonna do it. But at the same time, I try to make it as detailed so that even if your level of understanding immigration and filing documents and finding them online on official website of USCIS, you can still follow this video and kind of go along with it. Like I said, filing online is gonna be even easier than a paper form like this, but it's gonna be pretty much exactly the same questions, so you can go along with this video and pause it where you need it and answer them and as you go. On the plus side, like I said, you can file it online, which speeds up the process dramatically, and it also doesn't cost anything at all. So this all is free. So really, the main concern here is actually finding someone in the United States who will be ready to support the beneficiary from the Ukraine to qualify for the Uniting for Ukraine program. So let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them as soon as possible and make a video on answering the questions. So look out for those. Obviously subscribe, because then you're gonna know if I answered your question or not in the video. And also, if this was useful, please consider supporting this channel. I would really greatly appreciate it. The support goes really long way and helps me bring more of these videos to this channel. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope it was helpful. This was a free immigration help channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.